Welcome to Fathers Unfiltered. This is a podcast that allows separated fathers to tell their story. We've got today's guest. Do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us your name, age.
Yeah, I'm Jay. I am now 42. No, I'm 43 now.
How many kids you got?
I've got 3.
Okay. So the first thing we get into is how long have you been separated from your ex?
So it's coming up to 8.5 years now. Yeah, 8.5 years.
Okay. And how long were you together?
So we were together 17 years, married for 9 of those.
Okay. I've suddenly gone really bad at math, but can you take us back to the first day? How was it you actually got together?
Yeah, so we got together. I ended up, so she was at uni down south, and I ended up being her boss at the company we worked for at the time. And it was actually one of her friends that came over to me and said, look, you know, obviously we were kids then, so one of my mates fancies you. She was seeing somebody else at the time.
Yeah.
But they were on, you know, iffy ground, if you like. So we decided, she split with him, sorry. We decided to go out for a drink and sort of that were it then. We were in a relationship after night one.
So you're about, was it 23, 24?
Yeah, it would have been around that age. Yeah, no, sorry, no, it would have been, hang on, no, because I've been separated 8 years, so it was before that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would have been...
I was younger than that because we had my eldest when I just turned 21.
Okay.
So, yeah, we must have been 18. It was quite quick, 18, 19 maybe, at the time that we first met.
How was the relationship? You said you got together immediately, so straight off the first date.
For me, it was great to begin with.
Yeah.
There were no obvious issues, but then again, I was young. You don't look out for things. You think when you're that age, yeah, I fancy her. Brilliant, and everything seemed normal, going out for meals and stuff.
The first 6 months, when, as you'd expect, any sort of 18-year-old relationship,
of course,
everyone's dead happy, you're meeting up, you go in the cinema or whatever.
Yeah, holiday mode.
When was kind of, I'd say, the next big event after being together for a little while?
So obviously the next big event was having our first son. That was, it wasn't planned.
What age were you about?
So I was 21. I think I was 20. Yeah, 21 when when we found out. 20 when we found out. 21 when he was born.
So say the first 3 years went
brilliant,
smooth. Okay.
Yeah.
And what was it like when you found out that your ex was pregnant? How was that?
I was over the moon. I've always wanted children.
Yeah.
And obviously at the time you think, oh, brilliant. I've got myself a partner for life and I've got my first little baby. Happened to be a boy and it couldn't have been more perfect, really.
How did you find out?
Well, she suspected, so obviously we did the home test and whatnot, and I went shopping actually that very same day. She was all over the place, and I went clothes shopping for a little baby boy.
So you're okay. You know, I'm gonna say, when did you find out?
Well, I went. Sorry,
yeah, you assumed.
Looking back, yeah, I assumed. To be fair, the stuff I bought was actually neutral stuff. Okay. But it was.
You wanted it to be a boy.
It was leaned more towards the boy side of things. Yeah.
Fair enough. And how did you find? I'm gonna say, how did you find? But what was the whole pregnancy period from your point? How
It was fairly stressful because actually, to be fair to her, she got quite ill while pregnant. She had, I can't remember what they call it, hip dysplasia. So she ended up being in a wheelchair because she couldn't walk because her hips had parted too far. And he were a bit of a big boy anyway, to say the least, the baby, which didn't help. She had a massive bump on her and she's only quite small. So I don't think that helped carrying that extra weight around.
No. And so that went it had its challenges. And I guess when you get closer to the pregnancy, how was that for you both, or at least for yourself?
Yeah, again, it was okay. It was obviously stressful, as it is for any relationship, having a little one. You both have no idea what you're doing. You're both still kids yourself. So we coped. We were at moments where it wasn't so great. I think when we sort of were first together, she's from originally in the north. We met down in the south, and she wanted to move back to be close to her family. So I agreed to move back up here with her. But when we moved up, we didn't actually have anywhere to live, so we ended up living in a caravan for a couple of years on a farm.
When did you first move in together then?
Well, pretty much from day one.
Right. So about
sort of moved in with me. Well, she didn't. She just never went home. She just stayed with me every night, and then eventually all her stuff had moved in, and that were it really. I was sharing with a mate at the time in like a house share. She had moved in. He needed to move out, so it sort of. She then just sort of moved in. That were it.
Fair enough. How did you find it living with somebody as opposed to just living with friends?
It's strange living with, because you have to take into account, before I could just go out, if I want to do something, I'm going to go out. But, when you've got your new girlfriend there, you have to sort of double check, I was going to go out, what are you doing? But, take that into account, which I wasn't used to.
Yeah. Yeah. So how long was the the birth? Was it a short?
So no, the actual labour itself was 32 hours because he just didn't want to come out. The actual birth was horrible, to be honest. It was a terrible birth. He got stuck. The hospital weren't. They weren't. Well, I'm assuming they're just overstaffed, but they were put in the wrong. To help bring on the contractions. I can't remember to lengthen the contractions.
Okay.
The stuff they were meant to put in wasn't actually going into her. We found out later it was actually just leaking out of the pipe out the back of the bed. It was only when a nurse wandered around, she was like, "Well, what's this everywhere?"
Oh, okay.
So we almost lost it. We almost lost him, to be fair, because they couldn't get him out. So they ended up. They were going to move her into emergency C-section, but actually one of the doctors managed it with forceps.
Yes,
and sort of dragged him out. But he had the cord around his neck, so he looked like a little alien. He was just bright blue, but he's here. He's a big, strapping, healthy young man now.
Oh, that's good. I finally managed it. That's a long period. I think mine and my ex's was only around 14, 16 hours. Right. And the second one was only about 6 or something. It was nowhere near that sort of length of time.
Yeah. I mean, it was stressful for me, but I can only, to be fair, I can only imagine what it were like for her having to actually go through it.
Did you get to go home straight away?
No, so they got kept in because he had the cord around his neck. They were kept in for about 2 weeks, I think it was in the end, just to make sure there was no further damage to his brain or lungs and whatnot. But after that, yeah, we were back home.
How was it when you finally got to get home and be a dad?
Yeah, I mean, it was great because, like I say, because while in hospital, the head of the hospital, I can't remember, obviously I don't know their name, but they came and said, look, basically, if you want to sue us as a hospital, we've already listed everything that we've done wrong. So basically, if you wanted to take this any further, you're well within your rights to.
No way.
We won't argue it. But we were just happy he was alive and okay, so we just left it.
I can't believe they actually said that.
Yeah, they messed up a lot.
I suppose if they're forthcoming, people show a bit of forgiveness.
That's probably what it is, looking back at it. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Fair enough. So now you're back home, everyone's well, recovering. What was it like, say, the first 6 months?
It's hard because he didn't sleep. And when I say didn't sleep, we were lucky to get a couple of hours a night. He had severe colic, so he just would not sleep. Obviously, as a dad, we only get 2 weeks if we're lucky. So you're trying to...
And then you're back to your routine.
You're back to your routine. You're back into work. And then you're coming home. You're trying to help as much as you can, but you can't get any sleep because you feel like you can't just leave it to your partner to sort out. So you try to help out. And it's just a blur, to be honest. He was like that for 3 years. For 3 years, he just did not sleep.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know how.
I say that's incredible. 3 years.
Yeah, I look back now and I think that's why I'm so tired now. I'm still catching up on the sleep.
Wait, I had it for a month where it would just cried non-stop.
Yeah.
Couldn't imagine 3 years.
He would cry non-stop, but he wouldn't get full. So when he was on, she couldn't breastfeed because of severe mastitis.
Okay.
So she couldn't breastfeed. So he was on formula milk, and the milk he was on was for hungrier babies. And he didn't like it warm either. It had to be cold. So which was kind of easier because then you could just take it into bed with you and you not have to heat it up
How
or
did
anything
you find
like
out
that.
that?
It just wouldn't drink it when it was warm. He refused to
they
drink
don't tell
it.
you to do it
Yeah.
cold.
He refused to drink it, so we took him to the doctors and said, "Look," sorry, not the doctors, the midwife that comes round when you've got a newborn. She said, "Just give it him cold; it makes no difference." But then he was constantly drinking to the point where he was having, trying to think now, 16, 17 bottles within a 24-hour period because he just wasn't getting hungry. So
I'd say that's too many.
You'd say that was too many, wouldn't you? But when you go and see the medical advisors, the midwife, the doctors, if he's hungry, feed him. If he's hungry, feed him. Try and get him onto solids. They were trying to get him onto solids while he was 8 months old. He couldn't handle it. His throat couldn't handle the food, even though, when it's blended up into nothing, he couldn't handle it. So he then projectile vomiting everywhere.
I've never heard of a child eating or drinking that much.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, he's
went through
he's 6'5" now, so I think that's where it's all
I bet
gone.
he spent a fortune in formula.
Yeah, didn't we just?
That
yeah.
stuff's not cheap.
No, I know.
Okay, so I mean, you've said you had a difficult period for about 3 years, and did you manage to get into some sort of a routine? And
Yeah, I mean, over time, you just sort of adapt, don't you? You just have to. So, obviously, at the time, she was at home with him. I was going off to work, come home, help out where I could, and then eventually, she would say, right, go and sleep in downstairs or go and sleep somewhere else because you've got to be up in 4 hours, go and try and get at least a little bit of kit. But it did take a few months to get to that stage. After that, it was great, to be honest. There was no issues in the relationship.
you was getting on, still talking.
Getting on brilliant, yeah. Because it was what we both wanted.
That's good.
We wanted children, and
Yeah.
it just worked perfectly fine.
So when you got to, I know you've already mentioned the colic and crying lasted for about 3 years. How was it, say, about the 1 year mark, the baby?
Again, it was all right. We didn't really argue much as a couple at all. And as a dad, it was brilliant because he was that little bit bigger. You could actually sort of interact with him a little bit, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We would play games and things like that. And he would, they're becoming their own little person, aren't they?
I've got to say, it'd be pretty much walking or crawling at that point.
Causing trouble in their little walkers,
especially
and
if he's
smashing into everything.
Drinking that much. So, from that point, I know you've got 3 kids. What was kind of the main thing or main change in the relationship?
I think the main change in the relationship came when her brother had to move in with us. He'd been sent to prison.
How long after was...
So
just so we got a time frame.
I'm trying to think now. I think my son was probably about 3.5, 4
okay,
at the time.
So we jump a little bit.
So we jump forward a little bit, yeah. So I think that's when the main issue started. So her brother had been sent to prison for daft car-related things. And he had nowhere to go. Couldn't get a house because he's got a conviction.
Yeah.
So the only place he could go was with us. And at the time, we were in a 2-bed flat. 1 room for me and her, 1 room for the baby. Then all of us, well, not even a baby, was he at that point? But, but we then had to take him out of his room, move him in with us. So our brother had somewhere to stay. So, and then he would, that's where a lot of the stress came from because of things he did. He wasn't working. So I was financially responsible for essentially
everything.
Him as an adult and of the baby and her.
Yeah, I can imagine that would have been a lot of tension.
A lot of tension, yeah. You know, it comes to a head because I was coming home from work late. I'd been out 13, 14-hour days, and I'd come home and there was no food because he's been home all day and sat and eating it all. And that's what it was like. I'd literally come in and I couldn't even have a piece of toast. But because he wasn't working, he wasn't paying into the house.
Yeah. So did that then cause tension between you and your ex?
That caused a massive tension because obviously I get it. It was her brother. But at the end of the day, it was affecting our family.
Yeah.
And it was affecting my son because he was, like I say, he didn't have his own space.
No, it's totally understandable, especially if they're not
Yeah, exactly.
supporting in some way. How long did that situation last?
So he was with us about a year, and that's when it came to a head. And I said either basically he goes or I'm going because I can't do it anymore. I feel like a stranger in my own home. But we were getting pressure off of her parents as well. Or just, you know, he just needs a couple more months and he'll get himself sorted, I promise. But they weren't even, you know, offering, say, oh, we'll give you an extra £100 a month towards his food, or there was no support. So it was literally on me. And I said, no, I'm not doing it anymore.
I mean, a year is quite a while, especially when you've got a new family and all the pressures that comes with. Yeah. So was it quite straightforward moves out?
Pretty much. It was about another 2 weeks after, and then actually moved in with his parents. Why they didn't have him from the start is beyond me, but he moved in with his parents and then enabled us. It was a bit rocky, if you like, because I said some things, but looking back at it, I probably still do. I'm glad I said those things because otherwise I wouldn't have gone on to have my other 2 children.
Yeah.
Because I would have just completely had enough and gone and just never come back again.
So once that setup sort of corrected itself after that year, did you get it back to any sort of normality?
Yeah, we lived just what you'd call a normal life. So obviously, the little one got older. He started to go to nursery. She was then off working part-time. So we just had a normal...
And you two were getting on good still?
Getting on brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were getting on brilliant after that, you know, that episode. We were getting on great again, like it had never happened. Until we lost our baby. They weren't planned, but...
Was you trying for...
I'm going to say no, but yeah, because we were, we weren't taking precautions. But I think it was one of those where if it happened, we were happy, but we weren't actually actively trying.
I get you.
And because she had such a traumatic birth, I think it just caused too much stress on her body. So we ended up losing.
So how long, I'm guessing you knew she was pregnant at that point?
Yeah, we knew she was pregnant, but she didn't even get to 3 months.
Okay.
So we lost it quite quickly.
How did that?
I was devastated. I still think about it today, but what do you do? I can't, you can't change it. It's happened. I think the issue became, this is where we sort of started having a little bit of a downfall because she didn't want to talk about it. And I felt like I needed to talk about it. But then I couldn't, she refused point blank, and I've got to respect what she wanted. So I just had to bottle it all up. And really until today, I've not told anybody that.
Never spoke to...
Not even my current partner. No.
Never reached out to a friend?
No.
Therapist?
Nobody. Nothing. Just left it. So, yeah. That's that. So that's just how I've had to... And because I've bottled it up for so long,
Has she ever discussed it since?
No. No, never. It's like it didn't happen. But I think that's because obviously we have gone on to have 2 other children, so it kind of hides the fact. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I get it. Yeah.
yeah.
I can imagine, yeah, how you'd still think.
Yeah, not a day. It's coming up again. It was in February, so not a day goes past. Well, no, that's a lie. A day does go past, weeks go past, and then all of a sudden it just...
You remember.
You remember, yeah.
So from your miscarriage that you mentioned, did the second time take a little after, or was there...
No, there was so between my eldest and his brother is 7 years, 7-year gap, is it? He's 14, he's 21, so yeah, 7 years. There's a 7-year gap in between Dom. Obviously,
Yeah.
we've got the miscarriage in between that as well. So it was a good few years after the miscarriage till...
Like I said, during that period, since the miscarriage, how was your relationship?
Again, it was probably fairly decent, apart from her not wanting to talk. But once I'd got my head around, she doesn't want to talk about it, I'd got myself around, okay, well, I don't want anybody else to know, so you just carry on as normal. And again, it does, doesn't it? Time is a great healer. So we just carried on.
That's it, you try and
as normal.
Support the person that you're with as much, and if they don't want that, then...
Of course, yeah. There's not much you can do, is there? And
that.
then obviously we had our little one as well, so he still needed us, he still needed feeding and watering and whatnot, so...
Well, that's it, yeah. Getting on about 7, going on 8 at this point.
Yeah.
Which, well, they're becoming a fully grown little person.
Exactly. Becoming a pain.
So, with the second child, when she finally did become pregnant, was there any difference between the first pregnancy and the second?
So, yeah, our middle child, he was planned, and he was dead straightforward. Honestly, it was the easiest. She had a great pregnancy with him. She actually, well, they call that like baby bloom or pregnancy bloom.
Oh, right, yeah.
She proper bloomed with him, and the pregnancy was nice and straightforward. In and out of the hospital the same day.
Wow.
So there were no issues at all. Straight back home and living life as normal, getting used to having a little baby in the house.
I've got to say, I bet that felt good by comparison to the first.
Oh, didn't it just? Yeah, knowing that, because he slept from day one. He slept all night, every night, and he still does to this very day. At 14, you were lucky to get him out of bed before 2 o'clock on.
I bet you look at your first and look like, you do that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's good that you got the nice change up and you didn't go through the same.
It was great because we were dreading it a little bit, thinking, well, if the first one's like that, then the chances are the second one is going to be. But no, he was great.
And how was it with your second child? I mean, you said it was a lot easier, and now your son's getting a bit older, so I'm guessing you get into a good,
brilliant routine. Again, she was off work with the little one, but I was going off to work, but I was doing better shifts at work as well, so I was home by 4 every day. Coming home, sorting tea out, sorting the kids out, go to bed, put them to bed. We'll have a glass of wine, watch TV, a film together. I think back then Netflix used to send the DVDs out to you in the post. I'm
forgetting how long ago it is still.
There were still blockbusters around as well back then. So
it sounds like life's going really well at this point.
Yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better life, really. Considering how I grew up, I couldn't have asked for a better life. So I was dead happy, and as far as I was aware, she was dead happy too, and the little ones definitely were.
And How long did this all continue for? Everything.
Okay, to be like I say, but to be fair, we did have a good. I think we had a good relationship. Yeah, I have had a fairly decent relationship for us to have lasted 17 years. Looking back, I think weirdly, just when we got married, I think that was the issue. I think we're having that piece of paper.
How far later is that?
So, we'll say we were together 17 years. We got married out. We were married for 9 of those. I'm trying to think back now. We only had...
So it's in a couple of years then.
Yeah. So it was actually... Did we... Oh, I think she might have been... Hang on. Pregnant with our middle... Or shortly after we got married, she fell pregnant with our middle son. Or our middle child. Because it was definitely just... our eldest at the wedding. Yeah. I'm trying to think.
So it was just before...
So it was after... It was definitely after we had the miscarriage, but it was before our second child was born that we got married. Yeah.
So if we just, I guess, jump back a little bit to that, how did the whole wedding, I'm guessing you proposed?
Yeah, I proposed. Wasn't very exciting. It was just a case
How did you do it, though?
It was just a case of, I think we were watching TV and it was a case of, should we do it then?
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it. It was now...
Go on then.
Too extravagant. I think that's what it was. Well, we got a kid together now. We may as well.
I know that feeling.
Not doing out else. Let's give it a go.
Fair enough. How was it? I'm guessing now you've got a wedding to look forward to. You've got something.
Yeah, wedding.
Exciting.
To be honest, I wasn't looking too forward to the wedding because. To be honest, I didn't really think I'd ever get married. It never really interested me. But I could see how much she wanted it. But looking back now, I think she wanted it just kind of because she'd have the... Because obviously some people do, some people don't. But my son took my surname. But she had a different surname.
Yeah.
And she didn't like that. And I understand that. She went in... When he was in school, she took him in... And what's your name? Or, blah, blah, blah. You're not his mum then? Yeah. So I think that kind of... She wanted the same surname, which I get, I understand.
Yeah.
But, like I say, I didn't really think I would ever get married, but it felt right. It did feel right, so...
So how long was the run-up to the wedding? Was it a year?
It took us a good couple of years, really, to save up. Because it was a nice wedding, but you have to pay to feed everybody, don't you? People that you've not seen for years all of a sudden want some free food. So you have to, we had to definitely save up for a long time.
Yeah, from what I remember, they are not cheap. And do you remember the day?
I remember the day. Yeah, it was a great day. Funnily enough, the couple of weeks before it. The weather was absolutely atrocious to the point where we thought we were going to have to cancel it because where we wanted to get married outside and all the grounds had flooded. So on the day of the wedding, actually, we couldn't get married outside. We had to get married inside, but it was a beautiful day. Sun was shining. The rain just all of a sudden stopped and, the day before... So the wedding could go ahead, luckily, as planned, because, we had family coming from all over the place.
Yeah, you took a risk there with...
Yeah, but it paid off. Yeah.
So, wedding's out the way. I'm guessing, did you have a honeymoon and all that?
Yeah, so we had a nice honeymoon. We went to Southeast Asia for a month.
Wow.
And just enjoyed life. We had our... little one as well with us. He came with us, and we just spent weeks wandering around and on different beaches and just relaxing. Met some really good, nice people. Unfortunately, don't keep in contact with them anymore, but met some nice people and just enjoyed life and thought, brilliant, this is what it's all about.
That's good. After not ever thinking that you was going to get married, how did it feel to become a married man?
It felt nice.
Yeah.
It felt nice just because it's weird because you've got that ring on your finger and you think, actually, yeah, I'm kind of wanted by somebody.
You're somebody's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not, I did plenty of playing around when I were a kid, a lot younger. So it felt nice to actually just be one person's and coming home to that one person.
I get you. So if we jump forward again a little bit, and I think it probably would be, so between the second child and the third, what sort of gap are we?
So my daughter, there's 18 months difference between the second and third, so it was quite quick.
Okay. Was there anything else that happened that significant?
In between, no, not really. It was just what you describe as a normal life.
Yeah.
People doing their own thing, work and
Just holidays,
raising a family and
holiday a year, and
taking a holidays. Yeah,
fair enough.
it was great. But we bought our first house. That's a lie. We bought our first house.
Okay.
Forgot about that bit. Which is what was perfect because then we had our own home. We could do what we wanted to and make it ours.
So you bought was that after you've been married and you've had your second?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I bet that felt good once.
Yeah, it felt
settling into your own place.
Yeah, exactly. It felt great. Everybody had their own space. They're safe. They're what we call your safe space. It's your home, isn't it? And so
yeah,
it was perfect.
And when you came to the third child, was you trying or not taking precaution?
Yeah. So we did want, and I've always wanted 3 kids, or more if it came along. But yeah, so with our daughter, it was great because I've got 2 sons at this point. I thought, right, I want a little girl, and yeah, it was brilliant. I actually took off 6 months from work.
It's quite a time.
Yeah, well, at the time she was wanting to change her career, so she'd got a job at a new place. So she decided to go to work, and I took the 6 months off.
Got to be a stay-at-home dad?
I got to be a stay-at-home dad for 6 months.
How did you find that after being the working dad?
To be honest, I loved it. Yeah, I absolutely loved it. I got to just be there for my children, dropping off at school runs, and then go into play centres with the youngest ones and just actually not really having to worry about much, just lapping it up because I didn't get it with my first one because all of a sudden you're at work and that was all a blur because of his lack of sleep and stuff. So I got to actually be what you'd call a hands-on dad, nappies, the lot. I had to because there was nobody else there. It was me. She was out at work.
No, that does sound good. How did you come to the point of where you transitioned out of that then, being the stay-at-home dad?
So it just became a point where financially it become unviable to keep going. So it was a case of, all right, I need to go back into work because at the time I'm not sure if it was a relatively new thing at the time. So I could take her.
You could share it.
You could share it.
Yeah.
So I was on full pay, but obviously when the 6 months were up, that stopped. So it was like, okay, now I need to go back and. She had to go to a childminder with my middle one because we were so close.
It's always a bit of shit. You have to pay then someone to look after your kid so you can go and earn more money.
Exactly. It was
wild.
Looking back, I think, why did we even bother? Because actually what I was earning at the time a month pretty much just covered the childcare. So actually, but then you've got to travel to work, which costs money for fuel. So it was probably costing me money to actually go to work. But you think that's the right thing to do. You think, I've got to go to work because I've got to earn money.
Because you should.
Should.
But actually, it's wild.
It would have made more financial sense to stay at home.
If you're able to do it, I think that's what a lot of people would like to do.
Yeah.
How did you find actually going back into work after being at home?
I found it quite depressing, to be honest, because I've gone being able to spend as much time as I wanted with my children to now actually I'm back to limited hours, if you like, because by the time you get in again, you have tea and they're in bed. And then you're up and gone to work before they are sort of up and about, and
You're worrying about the day-to-day work and rather than on your kids.
exactly that. You're just concentrating on your work, trying to get that all done and get home as quick as possible. But there's a lot of people at the time. I was contracted to certain hours, so you can't just up and go, can you? So even if you've done the work you need to do, you've got to stay till the end of the day. And
yeah. So now you're back in working. Your ex is working, and you're in your own place, and your third child's on the way. Or you? How was the difference between, say, your third child and your first two? Or was there any difference? During the pregnancy.
During the pregnancy, again, she was dead easy. Nothing like our first, and probably even easier than our second. Again, it was in and out jobby, and one day she wanted to actually have her birth in the pool, but didn't even make it that far.
I've got to say, I don't think they'll let you, do they?
So, I did. Which they had the pool ready for her. It was all set up, ready for her to go in. But she didn't even make it that far because literally on the way walking down the ward to where the room was with the pool.
Yeah.
My daughter was on her way out. She was like, "No, I'm coming out now, whether you want it or not."
Fair enough. And how was your third child when you were back home finally?
So yeah, brilliant. Because you're sort of in the swing of things. Then, I've done this. I know what I'm doing, and
yeah,
she just
slotted
into it. Yeah, she just slotted into the family.
We've got 3 now. It's right.
Yeah, it's easy. It's, when they become a little bit older, it becomes the issue because you've only got 2 hands. You can only hold 2 kids at one time, and then the other one's like, "Well, I want to hold your hand."
Yeah. From there, where was the next main event, would you say, or the next transitioning that took place?
Yeah, so that probably took place when she started a new job, which came with a lot more responsibilities, which involved a lot of night shifts or late shifts. So I essentially became, I became a single dad, really, because I was then getting up in the morning, getting the children sorted for childminder's school, whichever it might be at the time, going to work, picking them up on my way home, but she wouldn't start till 12 midday, but then wasn't coming home till midnight 1 in the morning because the industry she was in meant she had to be there till then. It was like restaurant industry, that sort of thing.
Did the money make it so that it was hard to refuse, or
not really?
Okay,
not for me. She wasn't being paid magnificent amounts, but it was just she said it was something that she said that she wanted to do, so I'll support you in that. So essentially, like I say, I became a single dad. I was dropping off school runs, bringing them home, sorting tea out, putting them to bed. I was going to sleep. I didn't see her because she was getting in at, so I say, midnight 1 in the morning. I'd then get up, get the kids up, get them sorted, go, and that were it. We were just, like they say, is it boats that passing
the night?
Yeah, that's what we were like.
Did you end up getting any time together? I'm guessing, was it weekends or?
No, because of the busy time. The role, it was a busy time. So she had her time. She'd probably, I don't know, whatever time she got up till she'd leave at midday 1 in the afternoon, and that was it. We didn't really get any time, and that's where things
started drifting apart.
Apart,
you're probably feeling the strain. She's probably feeling, well, she's working nights and feeling quite on her own, not spending time with the kids.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was really difficult time because you've gone from having everything that you ever wanted to all of a sudden it's weird. You can just feel it falling apart around you, and we had conversations. I was begging her to change a job or even ask her employers for different hours because we've got a young family. She just refused. She said, "No, I love what I'm doing. I'm not changing it for anybody." And I was like, "Well, not even your children." She's like, "Nobody." So
okay,
that's when things start to affect the relationship, affect me, my mental health as well, because like you say, you just don't feel
You're taking on a lot of strain at that point. And
Yeah, I was just worrying for my kids because I didn't want them to have the upbringing I had. I wanted them to have what people deem as the perfect family, you know, the perfect life where both parents are together and they go off to school with no, you know, worries. They come home, you know, but it wasn't to be. And we did get to the point where my eldest was asking, "Where's mummy?" "Oh, she's at work." "Oh, right, okay. Yeah, but she'll be back soon, mum. You know, mummy loves you," and blah, blah, blah.
Did she get much time with the kids?
She got her time. No, not really. Not at all. I think, looking back, maybe on a sort of Sunday evening, she would get home a bit earlier and go, "Right, I'm going to put them to bed tonight." But that were it, you know, 6 days of the week.
How long did this go on for?
Oh, I can't even remember. It was a good few years. You
lived that for a few years?
Yeah. Yeah, because I didn't want my family to split up. So you do whatever you can to protect that. And if that meant I have to do what I'm doing.
So I'm going to ask, like, what was the point at which that setup didn't exist?
It stopped existing for me when something was just telling me, and I don't know what, that I'm sure she's having an affair, because I just didn't understand how restaurants could shut at 11:30 and then she's not getting back till 1, 2. Bear in mind, it's only 20 minutes down the road. "Oh, I've got to cash up. I've got to do this. Okay, that's another half an hour, maybe." But then it was getting to the point where she was coming in at then 2:30, 3. So I'm thinking, so then I'm laying awake at night thinking, what the flipping hell is going on? Where is she? I'm also worrying, you know, where is she? What's happening? "Oh, sorry, I won't be home for a couple more. I'll get a text. I've had a really busy night. We've had this and that." So something was just telling me that she was having an affair. To be honest, to this day, I still don't know if she was or not. She's never admitted it, but certain things started to happen. So she would sleep with her phone under her pillow. So when you look back, you think, "Oh, actually,
There's always signs.
There's a sign, but you don't see it because you're in it, I guess." But to this day, I still don't know. But I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, you had your assumptions. What was the change then? Did you say you're not happy with the setup? And
Yeah, so I I confronted her, said, "Are you having an affair?" And that was turned, "No, why would you say that? If anybody's having an affair, it's you." I'm thinking, when have I got time to have an affair? But yeah, so anything I said, she would just turn it against me. So I just stopped communicating with her and just concentrated on the kids. I thought there's no point in arguing with a brick wall because there was nothing.
It's like the perfect defense.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But looking back, you know, I've learned a lot from different people and things, and there are definitely a lot of red flags that have popped up that I didn't even.
I've realised over the years, your gut knows.
Yeah,
it's not daft.
It's not. Yeah, always trust your gut. Always, but you don't, do you? You just want life to be like it was. But the other things since we've split up, you know, I don't like to ban this word around, but narcissist is definitely the one for me. A covert narcissist I've researched, and that's where it points to for me.
So from you having that conversation, what sort of happened? I mean, did that immediately lead to a breakup? Or was
No,
it a slow
not immediately.
decline?
It just became a very toxic place to live.
Because she was aware, I'm guessing, or she was aware of the tension and...
Yeah, and we was just arguing daily before you go to work, text message arguments, when you got, you know, when she'd get in at 1, 2, 3, whatever time it was, another argument. and it just wears you down. So then become a point where I said, look, I can't do it. I can't do this anymore. So either something needs to change within your work so we can spend time together as a family, or I've got to go because I'm going to lose my bloody marbles. I'm going insane. And she refused. And so she said, I'm not changing anything. I'm happy the way it is. If you're not part of that, so be it. So that was I had got my answer that I knew I needed to go.
So you left?
I left, yeah.
How come it was that you left?
Because...
Since you're the one that's doing all the kids and you're the one that's still working.
Because I'm the woman. This is what I got told. I'm the woman. You're not entitled to anything. So
if anything, you're effectively managing the kids full time. You shouldn't have left.
No, looking back, I shouldn't have left.
You should have said, I think you need to leave.
Yeah, but for, like I say, she would say like that, exactly that. I'm the woman. All I've got to do is, well, she did. She rang the police. I'm being harassed. I got removed from my home. We just had an argument, nothing else. And even the police officer, when he came, because she had said I was harassing her, you need to leave. It doesn't look great. You're a man, so there's no point in even arguing the fact. Best you leave.
That's how it's escalated.
That's how it escalated that quickly, yeah. So I left and that was it. And I'd not been back. Well, obviously I go back and pick up my children now, but I've never, since that day, I've not stepped foot in that house, which even 8 years on, I still own.
Are you still married?
No, I'm divorced.
Okay. So she's got the house now?
I'm divorced. The financial settlement has not been sorted.
After 8 years?
She's refused. I've spent thousands trying to get her to sort it. And she's refused. Point blank. I've got messages going back, obviously, years. You're not going to get anything out of this house. I'm like, well, we've been married, blah, blah. Well,
it's half yours.
Yeah,
you're married.
Yeah, exactly. I know that, but now, obviously, I'm not going to sell or want to sell the house under her feet, and I wouldn't. I don't think the way the law is, I don't think I'd be allowed to do that because the children are there, and I wouldn't want to because that is their home. Mm-hmm. And all I wanted was actually just for her to say, right, we have this in place, whatever it is, for ready to go. But she's refused point blank to sort anything.
You've never requested the court to push for buy you out, or
I went to a company called Jigsaw Mediation. Mm-hmm. Which I don't think they're now around. That was a couple of years ago, 2, maybe 3 years ago. I went to them because I would just obviously needed to sort it. Because I left it for years because I just my mental health couldn't deal with it really. I just needed to.
So
I know it gets confused. It gets confusing because.
So was you the main breadwinner or was she the main bread?
So we were both at the time. I was working full time and she was working full time. So
you both contributing.
We were both contributing equally into that.
When you left, did she take over all the bills?
Yeah, she did. Okay. For the first couple of months, I was still paid towards the mortgage, but it became unsustainable. I can't, especially the price of rent in comparison to the mortgage. Mm-hmm. So I said, I can't do this. I can't physically afford to. At the time, I just moved into a 1-bed flat, so I can't afford to rent this and pay half that. So I just stopped.
Whose account was it coming out? I'm guessing was it like a joint?
It was a joint account.
Okay, so
which she removed me from by basically forging my signature. I found out and telling them I'm no longer. That's not my. Basically, she told the bank that I needed to be removed from it. We're no longer together. She wrote a letter on my behalf and signed it on my behalf to say I no longer wanted to be part of the bank. You know, I've got my own separate account now. Blah blah blah. Yeah.
Okay. That's wild.
Some other things have happened too about stuff like that.
I'm guessing you've questioned that.
Yeah, I've questioned it, but even the bank won't even, look into it. They go, we've got a letter. It's got a signature on it. I mean, it's not mine. Well, as far as we're concerned, it is. So, and she could pass all security details because obviously we were together for so long. So,
okay. So you've now got your own place. She's still living in this place. So when you initially got your own place, and were you still seeing the kids at the beginning?
So initially, when I first moved in, so there was a couple of weeks when after we split up, I had nowhere to live, so I was crashing at a mate's house, sleeping in my car, and then he helped me get this this flat, and then I was having the children 50% of the time initially, which I always wanted to have them 50% of the time, but because I was in a 1-bed flat, children were getting older, there was nowhere for them to go. I had a single bedroom with my bed in. The children, when they came, I used to get out like a blow-up bed. What my eldest would sleep on the sofa or in my bed, and I'd go on the sofa, and then the other two would be on a blow-up bed. So I said to her, look, I don't have enough space for them to have them 50% of the time staying over. I've got no objections of still picking them up, taking them home, giving them tea, dropping them down to you later on after, but I can't have them 50% of the time. There's just not enough space.
And so you requested to have that reduced?
Yeah, so none of this, none of this was done through the court. This was all...
That's good.
Yeah, but that's because she doesn't want to go to court because the financials would come up, wouldn't they? So this was all done amicably, I guess you could say. She was like, right, fine, you don't have to have them 50% of the time. Or after a bit of time, it was like that. Before, it was like, all right, so you don't want to see your kids anymore. I was like, no, that's not what I'm saying. But if you want to twist it that way, you crack on and do what you need to do and tell the people that you need to tell that that's what's happening. But no, that's not what I know. I still want to be a bigger part of their life that I can be.
Yeah. Yeah, they like to go with the option to like throw in the little kicks.
Yeah, of course they do. Yeah, a nice little. It helps set the story for the lies that they tell to friends and family of theirs and mine.
So how was it, say, the first 6-12 months, seeing your kid, now you've got your own place, being, well, you live in the same life, you're just in a different house almost. You haven't got...
Yeah, I mean, like when I had them 50% of the time, even though it was a struggle, I enjoyed it, I loved it. When I then started having to drop them back, it was heartbreaking. I couldn't deal with it. And that's why I became really depressed. I just would drop them off and I'd just go home and just lie in bed and cry because I needed to be with my children.
Yeah. At least for the first so long, I remember how that feels.
Yeah. It's not a nice feeling. And it's been a long time now, and obviously my children have got older, so it's got easier. We game together and they've all got their own phones and stuff now. But obviously when they were younger, it was literally no contact until I pick you up again.
Yeah. How long did you, I'm guessing, go through that until it did manage to sort of become a bit bearable?
It was probably a good couple of years, really, because she then started saying, right, you're not having the kids tonight. I'm going to spend time with them, because she then changed her job to a more family-friendly job. So she was finishing at 3-4 o'clock, so she was then able to pick the children up. So then it became, right, well, now you can have them on a Wednesday night and every other weekend. So it became worse before it got better, because I've gone from then seeing them every day and giving them tea. And I know I was still having to drop them off, but I knew, it was heartbreaking, but I knew I just had to make it through those next few hours and I'd be seeing them again. But then she wanted to change that up. I've changed my job. I need to now see my children
Did you not say we've already got a routine that works? Or?
Yeah, I did confront her about that, and she said, "Look, they're my children. I'm entitled to see them just as much as you." I was like, "Well, you weren't really bothered about that for the last few years, but all of a sudden, you're now bothered about it. So, okay, I can't. I'm not going to stop you seeing your own kids, even though that's what you're doing." But
yeah, I gotta say, in hindsight, do you not think you should have been the one to stay in the house?
100%.
And you should have made her leave.
100%.
Since you were doing the full management of the kids.
But I don't regret much in life, but I should have stayed. But
you was the full-time carer.
Yeah. But then it becomes that risk that I know it happens, but it's too easy for women in general.
Oh yeah, I fully understand.
To say that you've done something when you're completely innocent. So.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah, so it's not worth that risk of then potentially losing your kids forever over something you've never even done.
If they start to see that they're losing grasp.
Yeah.
I'm aware there's a big fear there. So, you've now had, say, a few years with your kids. Are you still in the same place, or did you manage to transition to somewhere with more rooms?
So I actually met somebody, and after a while of dating, I moved in with her. She'd had a terrible relationship previously. So I moved in with her. It was quite a while after, and then it was even longer before, because she's got a little one. So it was quite a while before we let each other meet each other's children. It was sort of done quietly. We'd go on, dates and things like that when her little one was at his dad's house. And
how long did you manage to leave it?
It must have been
6 months, 12 months.
I think it was a little bit over 12 months. Yeah,
okay,
that we managed
really?
to. I didn't want. She was like, "Oh, can I meet your children?" No, in the nicest possible way you can, because I'm not allowing that until I know we're actually going somewhere.
Yeah. I've done that with an ex where they met my kids.
Yep.
And then we split up.
Yeah.
And then the youngest still asks.
Right. Okay. Where are they? Yeah.
Fucking heartbreaking.
Yeah. I can imagine. And I went as a kid that I went through that. So I had a really good dad, and my mum wasn't so great, but I met lots of different dads, shall we say, and I didn't want that for my kids.
No, that's definitely a fear I've got.
Yeah,
introducing more people. It's like
no, and my advice is if you leave that as long as possible, if ever, yeah, yeah.
It's so you move into your new partner's house. How was? I'm guessing you got on.
It was brilliant. It was completely, like I say, at the start of my original relationship, it was great, but it was just different. It just felt.
How so?
I felt wanted again. I felt loved. And somebody just wanted to spend time with me again. You know what I mean?
I'm guessing you've had a long period of time where you've been, 4+ years where you've been working opposite shifts, and then you had a couple of years where you weren't together.
Yeah, so we were together, but I looked at myself as a single father when we were together. So to me, I'd been single way before we broke up. In my head, obviously we weren't, but in my head, I was a single dad for a very long time. So then, I went then into this relationship where she had a regular 9-to-5 job, or has a regular 9-to-5 job. So it was just a case of we could actually get to know each other. We'd go out, dates, we'd go out, we'd go and talk, we'd go out for a meal, we'd go out for a drink and actually get to know each other, go to her house. For ages, I wouldn't let her come to my flat because I didn't want her to see I lived in a tiny poxy one bed, because the flat I was in was actually a 3-bed terrace house that was converted into 3 flats. So it was tiny. I didn't want her to come around. It took me months. She was like, I need to come around because it got to the point where I think she thought I wasn't who I was saying I was.
You're living in a box or something, or
Yeah,
you just...
So eventually I was like, well, if I want this relationship to go anywhere, I'm going to have to invite her around. So I did, you know, and she didn't bat an eyelid. She was like, well, it looks lovely. You've done it up nice and it looks like a nice home. I was like, yeah, but it's not my home. It's just somewhere I sleep.
How soon was it that you was introduced to her child?
So I met hers because she's only got the one. I met him about 8 to 9 months after.
That's still a good...
Yeah, we still left it a good because her ex-husband is or was a nightmare. She didn't want it essentially getting back to anybody that she was seeing anybody because she felt like she wasn't allowed to see somebody else, even though they'd been divorced for years.
Okay.
He was a sort of the male version of my ex, if you like, but
those things can cause, especially if it's the first relationship,
Yeah.
there can be issues.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
After years, I don't know why, but yeah, they can. So I'm not sure how long ago it is. You've been together for quite a while, and you've moved in together, met her child. I'm guessing, do you get on okay?
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's strange, really, because obviously he's my son now. That's how I look at it. He's my son.
You're going back to having another little one again?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. But I don't like to call out other men, but he doesn't deserve that, his child. He really doesn't. So I've had to take on, like I've said to him all along, I'm not your dad, but you will be treated as one of my children. If you need anything, I'm here. But I'm not you have your own dad who lives 5 minutes around the corner who chooses not to see you. But I didn't tell him that, but I'm thinking, he chooses not to see you. I don't go, but if you need anything, I'm always going to be here for you. So we get on brilliant. He doesn't, and I wouldn't expect him to. He doesn't call me dad, but he tells me things he doesn't even tell his mum. So we definitely have that sort of trust and loving relationship between us.
How did you find it when the kids all met?
So obviously really apprehensive about that because it was just him living with his mum. And then all of a sudden he's gone from being an only child to essentially having to let other children in and share his mum with these other children. Because to be fair to her, they've taken to her like a duck to water. They absolutely love her to bits. They message her on a daily basis. I'm like, oh, you've got a message, have you? They've not messaged me this morning, or they've messaged you though. So, have a nice day, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll have one too, shall I?
No, that's really good.
Yeah, it's a godsend really because I was concerned. I was really concerned about that, but she's brilliant. She's a brilliant stepmom to them. It took, like I say, it took her son a little while to adapt, more so than mine, because there's 3 of them anyway. They're kind of used to having to
people around
them, yeah. Whereas he's literally gone from just him and his mum to there's 4 essentially random people now at my house,
So how long have you been together now?
It'll be coming up 6 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, coming up 6 years, I think it is. Yeah. She kills me because I can never remember. All I can remember is it was my sister's birthday when we went on our first date, but I can't remember which birthday it was. So I can't even try. I think it's coming up 6 years.
And how's your relationship with the ex?
So it's okay. We went through a period where we were just arguing over texts. It was literally because obviously we were together so long. She knew how to push my buttons. She'd put one thing on the text, I'd blow up and give it her back. And then my partner was like, this is how you need to respond. You need to take all your emotions out of it, and it needs to be factual text. This. Thanks very much. So after I adapted that, and I could start to do that, take the emotions out of it, and it was all purely, I'm going to pick the children up at this time, and I'll drop them back at this time. And it became that sort of plateaued, if you like. It was a nice, we only then started texting each other. It was just, when you still picking the children up at this time, and it became an amicable thing between us. Obviously, in the meantime, I had to put the financial situation to the back of my mind. So I'm thinking, right, I don't want to rock the boat. Everything's going smooth. I'm seeing my children now on a like a regular basis. There's no arguing, because arguing, even on text, is so draining. You feel like you've done a day's graft, and you've just got in from a day's graft.
Yeah.
And it's the last thing you want, especially when I'm sat down with my new partner and it's such a nice atmosphere, and it's nice and relaxed, and then all of a sudden I'll get a snotty text message. I'm like, I can't be bothered. But again, going back to, she'd say something which sets me off. You're not gonna. I'm right. That's it. You're not having the kids.
You'd spiral for the rest of the day. Then.
Yeah, it does. It ruins it. Yeah.
Which then affects your relationship.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, my partner now, she's so supportive. I think that's because of what she had to go through as well. With her ex, she now gets to see it from a man's point of view. Whereas before she kind of was like, oh, all men are like this. When she met me, she realised actually
she's probably a little bit hardened to it or that already.
Yeah, essentially. But she couldn't believe that there were essentially dads out there that actually want to be part of their children's life, and
it happens on both sides. There's people who don't. There's people who do.
Yeah, of course.
It's both sides, and
but that's not the way it's put over. It's always the men that are the issue. And don't want to see their kids. They're the ones that always walk out.
There's issues with people in both. It's potluck with who it's with.
Exactly, yeah.
So your relationship seems to be going much better. How old are your kids?
So my eldest is just 21. The middle one is 14, and my youngest turns 13 in a couple of months.
Okay. So you're still holding out for 5 years then, I'm guessing.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
once they turn to 18.
Once they turn to 18. So my plan is funnily enough, just
to get the financials all ironed out.
Well, just before Christmas, I messaged her and said, right, we need to get this financial sorted out. It's gone on for far too long. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm going to approach mediation again. Hopefully this time.
Have you already done mediation?
So the first time we did mediation, I did mediation by myself because she didn't respond. So they gave me the MyAm. So I got sent the MyAm because there was no response, which you meant to go to court. I couldn't financially afford to do it at the time. I could not afford any more money being spent out when that money would be used for the children. Yeah. So that MyAm, I don't know what happens to it. I think they expire, don't they? After? No, do they not?
You only have to do it once.
Right. Okay. Well, I've still got that on me emails then.
Yeah. You only have to do it once, from what I believe.
Right. Okay. Well, I didn't know that, so that's something I need to obviously look into. Yeah, I'll have a look into that because but just before Christmas, I messaged her saying, "Look, we need to get it sorted." Blah 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 blah. To which I got a reply, there's no point in going to mediation. It just needs to go to court, because you've not been here now for X amount of years. You've not paid into the house.
Irrelevant.
X amount of years. And I was like, yeah, I've not paid into the house because you won't sort out the finance. It's not because I'm being difficult. So basically, reading between the lines from a text message, she's hoping it's going to go to court. They're going to say, you don't have to pay. She doesn't have to give me a penny.
Don't back down on that.
I'm
That's
not
half your house.
I'm refusing to back down. I was, and I missed this out actually. So when we initially split up and I moved into the flat, I said, if you can raise me £5,000, which is what I needed for basically at the time, it was like 6 months rent. So I could just pay that and I know I'm safe then for 6 months. We'll contact the mortgage company and I will sign that house over to you because I don't want to deal with it and I just need some security with my children, which she refused to do. I don't have to do anything until the children are 18. So, she's kind of shot herself in the foot now because if she'd have given me that £5,000 or arranged for that £5,000 back then, she'd have that property all to herself because I would have signed it over.
I believe there'll be enough equity within the property to split it now because it's gone on for so many years.
Yeah,
that you should be able to then split it and both go your separate ways.
Yeah, you'd think so. So I've tried on several occasions to get the property valued with, I know you can do online ones, but I've tried to do it. So obviously you get the estate agent comes round. I've arranged it. I've turned up at the property with the estate agent, not to go in, but I said, I'll meet you there. I'm not going to come in the property because I've not been in it for so long. We've arrived. The police have been called. I'm being harassed. And again, the copper was like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm just getting the house valued, with divorce. I'm trying to get the financial sorted. You better leave.
Maybe if the next time you was doing that, maybe you call the police and ask them to escort you.
Yeah.
And then you've already got the police there.
Yeah, I've never even thought about it that way.
And then the police turn, it's like, don't worry, we're already here.
Yeah. Yeah, I've actually never thought about it that way. I've now just got to a point where I thought, well, I've done I've got 3 separate online valuations of the property. So I've told her this is what, the plan is, this is what I want to do. And basically the messages I get back, there's no point. One, the children still aren't 18, so I'm not going to be told to sell the house.
She can.
That's from my understanding also. I don't... See, it gets a little... So there's been different conversations in regards to it. So I've got messages going back, I don't know, whenever it was, a couple of years ago. I've sent you an offer. My solicitor's emailed your solicitor with an offer to buy you out. Oh, have you? All right, brilliant. Contact my solicitor. Well, you've not had anything. So if I then contacted her again, well, my solicitor's not had this email. Can you get them to forward it to my solicitor and forward it on to me again? No, it's not my responsibility. This is her. It's not my responsibility to do that. If he's lost your email, that's his problem. Like, there's no real... Give me your solicitor's number then.
Just buying her time.
And then it was a case of she was retraining to change jobs again. I can't at the moment because I've gone back to uni, so I can't afford to remortgage. All right, no problem. Let me know, right, when do you qualify? This date, right. So from that date, you need 3 months, pay slips. I'll remortgage then. That happened. That passed. I can't do it. I still can't do it.
So has this ever been taken in front of a court and say...
No.
Well, so from what I believe is you take the free amounts and I believe you can take them and say... And will you request... either a buyout or a sale, and then get them to get the court to decide.
And that's my next step.
And say, look, either you'll buy her out, she'll buy you out. Anything's better than nothing. You buy her out, sell it.
Yeah, and that's now my next step. I've left it because, like I said,
the more options you've got, it's better than it's sitting there.
Exactly. But the thing I have is it is my kids' home. That's where they were all brought up.
Buy it out, rent it. If that's I don't know if that's an option, but...
So, like I say, just before Christmas, I sent her a message saying, I'm going to do this. We need to sort mediation out, blah, blah, blah. There's no point. There's no point doing mediation because you've not done this, as in not paid into the house. You've not been in the house for X amount of years.
Irrelevant.
So I'm like, well, we still need to do mediation. I'd like to try it again. So I'm in the process now, because the company I used originally, I don't think they exist anymore. So I've got to find a new mediator. She's agreed to do it, but then it's a case of obviously you have to pay per session, don't you? Each.
I think you get a voucher for the first 2.
Do you?
You pay for the initial. Well,
I paid because there was no contact. I just paid for my it was like 160 quid a time, something like that. I think it was. I can't remember. It was
I think you pay for your initial, they have to pay for their initial, and then you get your first 2 sessions free because the government gives you a voucher now.
Oh, right, okay. So when I last messaged her about doing it, I said, I'm going to go for January, obviously where we are now. And she said, do what you need to do. I can't afford to do it, so I probably won't reply again. I'm like, well, if you don't reply this time, we will be going to court because I want it and need it sorting. Because me and my current partner, we want to move on. We want to actually extend the property we're in to make room for us all.
I think you can. I think what you probably just go to court and request them to make a decision on the property.
Right. Okay. That's something that I need to look into. Yeah, because
so you need
I've
the
been
financials.
a bit too placid, really. Looking back at it,
I think you can go to them, just ask them to. They said the kids are getting older now. It's been going on for so long. Can you make a decision? There'll be enough equity within the property. One's already over 18.
Yeah,
it's either that or you wait till 18, then you're forcing a sale.
See, that's the thing that has concerned me. But then you know what it's like. Life gets in the way, so it has concerned me that I've left it so long. But I've done it out of.
Regardless of how long you've left it,
see, that's still what concerns me, though, that the courts will go, well, you've left it far too long.
It's still half yours.
Right, okay.
It's still half yours. Don't fall back on that.
Like I say, I'm still going to fight it. But even then, I think
if you're on the deed, it's half yours.
Yeah, I'm still on it today.
She's not signed your signature,
so she did try to get a loan out against the house. I actually have my own.
I've got to say, because you have to countersign.
Because I've got a countersign, so she did try. But luckily, because what she'd previously done is taken out a phone contract in my name. Obviously, I don't know anything about this because she's got the emails sent to her, the letters go to her, and I don't sit and check my credit file. So I had to, after all that happened, I then rang up the mortgage company.
Did you not ring the police first?
I didn't. What's the point? What's what they're going to do?
Fraud?
I know, it did cross my mind, but then do I want that?
Fraud?
I didn't really want that for my children's mum. So I left it. I was like, right, that's what it is. But what I did do was I rang the mortgage company and said, look, I need my own set of login details. I now have my own security password. They then have to text message me a code that I then have to give them because of what she's done previously. So I can't trust her because she tried to take a loan out against the house and countersign it. So luckily they contacted me saying, we've sent you the letter to countersign the. I was like, I'm not asked for that.
I mean, you've now got the protection that you can't do anything like that way, because that would be one risk if she took out basically the value of the property and then sold it, and the money's already gone.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why I needed that.
You may
security.
be able to then claim a look. It's like once it goes in court, well, you've actually spent half the value.
Yeah,
good luck getting that back.
Yeah. Yeah, so like I say, luckily I set that up and they sent me a letter saying, could you need to countersign this. I was like, I've not even asked for this. So that got declined.
So yeah, it seems like you've even after so many years, it's it's crazy how you end up being still intertwined.
I know, it's madness because I thought, when we started having normal text messages between us, I thought, brilliant, this is, it's taken us a while to get here, but actually we're being quite amicable and we're, kids are all right, or she started sending me things, so when parents, even if I couldn't get to it, for instance, she would send me the reports through and it became normal. But the moment the financials are raised again, she becomes a pain. And it happened recently. Like, I wanted the children round so we could do the Christmas decks together. Can I have them on the Thursday so we can sort the Christmas decks out? No, you can't because it's her current boyfriend's birthday. I was like, all right, okay. All right, well, it's not. What are you doing for it? Oh, we're all going out for a big family meal, blah, 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 blah. Right, fine, no problem. So it was my Friday due. The day after was the day for me to pick them up anyway on the Friday. So I picked them up. You all right? Everybody all right? Did you have a nice time at, the birthday party? What birthday party? I was like, oh, didn't you go out for... No, we sat at home all night. We didn't do anything. Oh, right, okay. It's because a couple of weeks before, or a week before that, I've mentioned sorting the financials out. So all of a sudden,
It's shit like that that gets to you.
Yeah.
It's petty games that are so
exactly.
needless.
And that's what it is. It's just strange because it's just a game, isn't it? For her, it's just a game. But for me, it's extra time for seeing my children. But it's something special, like sorting Christmas out.
Yeah.
But to her, it's just, oh well.
If he wants to ask me about that one thing, I'll mess up his occasion.
Yeah.
I know. Those little things, you always hope they'll end, but there always seems to be something.
They always just manage to raise again, don't they, somewhere? That
is so petty. Making up an event that didn't even exist.
Yeah, it was. But again, afterwards, what's the point in wasting breath arguing with her over it after the event?
Well, that's it. You go back to her, you'd rate, and you just get into an argument.
Yeah. And then that turns into another time that I want to, if something's coming up.
No, you can't have that day.
No, you can't have that day. My birthday's coming up soon, so I'm waiting to see if I'm allowed that day as extra. I mean, extra. It's not really extra, is it? It's just.
It's like you're always on eggshells just to keep the peace, so that
exactly. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, but like I say, we're 8 years down the line, and I need to get it sorted. I want to get it sorted because me and my current partner, she wants me on her mortgage with her. I'm like, I can't. I'm still financially linked to
there'd be
my ex-wife, so I can't. Our relationship can't really move any further. She wants me on the mortgage with her because it then gives me that security.
Totally get it,
but I can't do it. I've not.
Yeah, it's like making a commitment to you going forward, and then between you, you're going to have a lot more. Once the house is sold, you'll have more assets, and you can start really being a bit more comfortable. But no, I hope you.
I'll be following it through. I will be following it through because I think you've had plenty of time to get it sorted, or at least come up with some suggestions of how you want it to work moving forward. But you should just completely ignored it. So for me, it's financial abuse is what's happened. She wasn't enabling me to create a safe space with essentially what is half mine with the monetary value. So I could then, because I wanted that to put down as a deposit on my own house for my children. Obviously I've met my current partner now, so I'm not going to be going to buy my own property, but I wanted that safe space for my children when they're with me, that they've got their own other house, if you like. But I wasn't able to do that. And like I said, it's only really my current partner, she said, it's financial abuse because you can't literally. I've been stuck 8 years ago. I've not. My life hasn't really moved on. I'm just living somewhere else, if you like.
There is, and I'd love to say there is arbitrary rulings around if one's able to move on to another place, then normally the mum is able to stay there till the kids are 18.
Yeah.
Does not relinquish any ownership of the property.
Yeah.
I had it stated to me, it's like, but courts don't really like it because it binds you together financially until the kids turn 18.
Yeah, of course.
If you want to then go and buy another house, you ownership of 2 houses, you hit with a 5%.
Yeah.
Courts tend not to like it. It's gone on for. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to get it bottomed out.
Yeah, like I say, that's my plan. But she just makes it as difficult as possible. Like even when it came to the actual divorce itself, obviously I applied for the divorce online. And obviously, you have to, at the time, you now you can do a no fault divorce, but when we got divorced, you couldn't. You had to state a reason. So I stated my reasons. She ignored all the court letters, and then on the day that it was due to go to court, she sent an email to the court, and the email basically read, "I suggest you cancel this court hearing, because for whatever reason, some daft reason. She'd made up a few different reasons." And to be fair, the court, like receptionist, whatever they're called, the judge that processed the actual divorce obviously read out what he wanted sending back to her. So he basically put, how dare you tell me how to run my court? I've awarded me the hearing, essentially. So she had to pay for the court fees and things.
Oh, wow. Okay, so he punished her.
So he punished her for the snooty email. She said, I've not had that money, but...
You could probably enforce that on the next hearing.
Well, that's my plan, really, is to add it into
you could
to the thing and say, well, actually, you should have paid...
Don't let that go.
Whatever it was. I can't remember. I'd have to get all the paperwork out again. But, So, yeah, he did. He gave her a bit of a...
So I'm guessing you waited... Was it the 2 years or the 5 years?
So I had to wait 2 years. Yeah.
You waited 2 years just to respond that?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what it's like.
Now it's only 7 months.
Now it's, and it's you can do no fault now, can't you? Which would have been easier for me, but...
I think it's 4 weeks, 20 weeks, then 4 weeks?
Right.
Something like that, but there's steps in the process. So much easier. The actual divorce is relatively cheap. I'm guessing you put on your paperwork.
There was a financial order to come.
Well, not that. Did you put what? How did? Because you're supposed to put a reason.
Yeah. So my reason, basically, I didn't accuse her of.
Okay.
I didn't. I couldn't bring myself to do it because I didn't actually have evidence.
There's implications if you do, I believe.
Right.
Normally, or from what I believe, I don't know if it's the American system or if it is UK. On the old system, if someone has an affair, something like you can't get spousal maintenance or something.
Right,
I don't know if that's the American system, but on the old style, I'm sure there was.
Oh, right. No, I literally just I made it as sort of basic as possible. I thought I need it doing. So it's a case of we've grown apart, blah, 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 blah. And that's the way it went. And like I say, she kind of shot herself in the foot by sending an email to the court and directing the judge, how dare he hold this hearing.
So was you there when that got read out?
No, I didn't have to attend, but they rang me after and said, oh, she sent this email in. I was like, oh, really? I went there and she went, well, the judge was not very happy, let's just say. And she read out what the judge wanted to respond. So she didn't even mention it to me, the ex. She didn't, so...
How much did it cost you so far going through court?
So far, it's probably cost me... It's different. Obviously, I've had mediation, court. I'm probably about $4,500, $5,000, I reckon, out of pocket.
You have some crazy numbers going around.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, I'm quite lucky because you say that I've heard stories and it's been thousands and thousands and thousands. So I'm quite lucky in that way.
But you've still had a few hearings, though.
But we've had different hearings. Yeah, she just doesn't engage with anything. So, and then I back out and I think, right, because I'll get a message, like say, I'm doing this. I just need this amount of time. Okay. But I've come to realise...
Just send it to court. Let them decide.
I've come to realise she's just doing that. Just for the fun of it, just playing me, yeah. And I've refused to do it now. So
yeah, I think you need to just get it in front... I think there is where you can just request. There's no reason why you just can't request a sale. It's just been...
Because I read something a couple of days ago that actually if you are still on the mortgage and you've moved out, because she's had sole use of that property, I can charge her some type of... It's not rent, but you can charge her something. Is it rent, essentially? Because she's had full use of that property and I've had none. No, I'm not... Like, when we split up, I didn't take anything. I took a bin bag of clothes... And I left.
There isn't. Because I looked into this ruling. But supposedly when you've got kids under the age of 18, it's sort of... I think that's more in the instance of if you have a property, you move out and there's no kids and you no longer have use of the property.
Right,
but as soon as kids get involved,
I
think that's sort of ignored.
Yeah.
But there is such a thing.
Such a thing, yeah, which I didn't know until recently. Like I say, I thought I pretty much have come across all the different things, and then I came across that, and I thought, I might even chuck it in just to annoy her now.
I said that to my ex once. Instantly blocked. I think we was having a bit of an argument, and I said the name of whatever it's called because it's got quite a particular name.
Yeah.
Blocked.
Gone.
Straight
blocked.
away.
Yeah, it's just mad,
It was like,
isn't
yeah,
it?
press the button.
It's just madness. It's like I say when I left with just a bin bag of clothes, and I had my van, which I had at the time, but like we had a nice family car, which obviously I left. She needs a car, She then, not her current partner, but her ex-partner, I found out a few years later that on the Christmas, hang on, when did we move out? Anyway, whenever it was, a couple of weeks after, she had a new partner that she wasn't having an affair with, had come round to see if she was all right. I'll come round and cook for you. And I'm thinking, yeah, it just confirmed to me she has. But like I said, what I meant to say was, when I left the family car. She's then sold that, which is fine, whatever. But hang on, half of that was also mine because we were married. It was the family car. Mm-hmm. But again, there was stuff in the house. It was all essentially half of mine. So if they wanted to, you can break it down, can't you? I think, and say, well, actually, there was this in the house, so there's half of this. I'm not interested. I just now want to get the financial of the property. I'm not worried about the car. Even it was worth a few grand, that car. It was, it was worth quite a few grand, and we bought it outright as well. So there's probably about 7 or 8 grand in that car that was mine, but she sold it. She's taken the money and whatever she's done with it, I don't know. But
yeah,
but for me, it annoys me, but I'm not gonna.
You probably do better just to get it squared away with the property.
That's my plan.
Otherwise,
that's
it'll just drag out the battle.
Yeah, of course, because then you've got to go back through finding all the with evidence that. I don't know. I just don't. I just rather, like I say, square off the property and have it done with and dealt, and that's it.
I think. Have you ever had a consent order written up?
No.
I think you just need to get it in front of a judge.
Let them make the decision on it.
Yeah, but take a little bit of legal advice.
Yeah.
You can probably get an hour free and go to anyone and just say, we've had this for so many years. What do you recommend? Get it in front of a judge, have your free valuations and say, we'd like to... I believe you could then get them to push for it. Whether it's you buy it out, wait a year, rent it out, then sell it.
Yeah.
If she can't get the money, or her buy you out, or just sell the property.
Yeah.
And then...
That's funny enough, that's what
And it'll go to split between the solicitors.
That's what my partner said. She said, well, if she can't buy you out, she said, I'll release money out of my property.
And just buy it.
And we'll buy her out. And if she wants to rent it back off of her...
Yeah,
then she can do. The children don't have to move. Everybody's happy.
That's more than feasible.
I was like, she would. I'm telling you now, my ex would never. And she won't allow it. She will not. She will basically dig her heels in, and she will not move on it. And basically until
just push us for a sale then.
Yeah.
And I believe you can get the court to push for a sale. 8 years is stupidly long.
Yeah, it's daft. It is daft, but I say you don't want to rock the boat. I didn't want to get into the point where she was then. Well, you're not seeing the kids. You're not.
I think it's gone on that long, and the kids are...
They're all older now, and that's why now, like I say, just before Christmas, I said it's going to be happening, whether you like it or not.
It's actually going to cost them more the longer she waits, because appreciation.
Yeah.
Unless she just sells it outright and you split it, she's going to have to pay more to buy you out.
Yeah, yeah.
And it depends whether or not a goal is to keep it.
I think her goal is she wants to keep the property. Yeah.
Then it's going to cost her more.
Yeah.
And the worst thing is, do you have the kids 50-50 at the moment?
No. So I basically have them every other weekend and half the holidays.
Because you don't have them 50-50, it's probably in her benefit to get it sold now, because what they might do is do an uneven sale and grant her more because she's classed as the main carer.
The main carer, yeah.
If she waited till the kids turn 18, it goes back to a 50-50.
Right.
It depends.
Yeah. Yeah. To be honest, like I say, I think she will dig her heels in as much as she can. Because like I say, on the last text message I got was, you're not getting anything. Now, I know that's not the case, but she said, and anyway, you literally can't force me to sell this property until the children are 18. But like you say, that could work. Do I then just sit it out for another? I mean, I've waited 8 years. What's another 5?
I'd speak to get a little bit of legal advice, get their opinion on it,
Yeah,
go from there.
and take it from there.
It might be the case of whether or not you do, and it's actually financially in your favour.
Yeah,
Go get a bit of advice on that.
I'd say I'm happy to take a bit less if you like, because I just want it sorted.
Yeah, it's
if it were a 70-30, 60-40, whatever it may be, it doesn't bother me. I just want to be able to move on.
I get that.
With my relationship that I have now, that's great.
Well, I've got a few questions because we're sort of coming towards the end. Was there any red flags that you chose to ignore that you noticed?
So yeah, obviously, like I said previously, putting her phone, it would always be upside down. Then she started to sleep with it under a pillow. So I did choose to ignore that because I thought, she can't be, because she's got no real reason to. Excuse me, she's got no reason to have an affair. So I chose to ignore that. That was the main one, and obviously then she started coming in later and later and later.
What advice would you give to another father that's currently going through separation?
Probably do not leave that family home.
I think they all say that.
Do not leave that family home.
Other than not leaving the family home, would you have done anything differently?
Yeah, I think, especially with the financial order, I'd have just got that in place. Because I think no matter how you always want, like, I don't think she's a bad person. I think she definitely plays on that. Well, I can just do this and I can just keep him on a string and keep him going.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to think that's how she was. So you'd always give her the benefit of the doubt. No, she's not like that. She's not like she was never like that.
She's thinking about her priorities. Yeah. And you're not a priority.
Yeah, I'm not a priority. Yeah.
Now, this one, I was going to ask, does it make you hesitant about future relationships? Not relevant now, but when you first separated, did that make you a bit?
Oh, definitely. I didn't trust women, full stop, because she'd also managed to turn members of my family against me by telling them lies. So, and I still to this day don't speak to my mum because of what happened. She was telling my mum lies, and rather than my mum coming to me saying, well, what's going on, I'd get a phone call going, why have you done that? How dare you have done that? I'm like, I haven't done that. Well, I've been told differently. Right, but you don't want to hear my side? No, I'm not interested. I was like, okay. And to this day, I've not spoken to her.
Really?
Yeah, not. So that ruined that relationship completely.
Do you think that's going to ever...
No, I'm not. I've put a line under it. I thought, if you can't... no matter my age, you're still my mother. And if you don't want to hear my side of it, she just wants to forget about it. And no, we're not going to forget about it, because actually you've not heard my side and enabled you to make an actual informed decision out of it. You've sided with my ex, and that's fine. But with that goes, you don't have a relationship with me anymore.
That's a bit of a shame, really. But that's...
Yeah, it is a bit of a shame, but there's so many boundaries I've put in place now, not just with her, but with other people as well. Because if people are willing to make a decision just based on one side of the story, then I don't need you in my life. And that's how I've lived it ever since we've split up, really.
So now you're in this relationship, which I'm guessing it probably feels significantly different from the previous.
Yeah, it feels safe. It feels good. It feels nice.
Did you last ever feel that?
It did initially. But looking back again, it probably wears off quite quick. I think it might have been one because we were young when we initially met. So you're still children. So you grow up and you grow apart. You both want different things, but with my current, it still feels like day one, even though we've been together coming on 6 years now. It still feels like day one. We laugh we laugh every day without fail. We will laugh every day, and we're both as stupid as each other, and it's great. But I have said to her, I will not get married again. I won't do it.
No. Is that out of fear?
It's out of fear. Yeah, I will not do it.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be in your favour to do it right now.
Right
anyway.
now, yeah, I could. I wouldn't, because obviously, all of a sudden, if we decided now, oh hello, I'm now entitled to have a share of this property as well. So, and that's why I said I can't go on the mortgage. I refuse to go on the mortgage as it is. So essentially, I just pay her and rent a space. Essentially, is what I do at the moment. But yeah, marriage is a big no. I won't do it. And every bloke I speak to, and to be fair, I've even said it to my kids: don't get married, don't do it. Well, my eldest, not the younger one. Never a teenager.
I mean, the idea of marriage, I think, is great, but the legal reality,
there's no benefit as the system currently is. There's no benefit to men to get married. There's none. There's a lot for women. I think it is slowly changing, very slowly. But you go back a few years ago, the man would leave with absolutely nothing and get absolutely nothing. So gradually we are starting to change, but I think we're a long way off until it's fair towards separated fathers.
I mean, one issue that I had with my ex, he was always wanted to be open to the idea of marriage. We were together while I was still going through divorce, and I was like, hey, like, getting married again, I'm still getting divorced.
It's like, no thanks.
Like,
I'm good.
This whole marriage talk isn't doing me any good. Would I get married? I don't want to. But would I want to find somebody who would want me to be married? I'd love to. Like if there was a woman where, shit, I've got to marry you. The idea of that, amazing, but the actual getting married,
not sure. To be fair, that's what it's like with my current partner. If I hadn't, I'd marry her in a heartbeat. If I hadn't gone through what I've been through, I would, because she is perfect, and I don't mean perfect to look at or anything. I mean just as a person, her soul, everything about her is just what I thought my ex was.
Yeah. I understand the fear, though, because you think, if this one time that you thought was so right, if that can fail,
exactly,
why can't potentially the next one?
And after a long time, say we're together 17 years, you think, well, after 17 years, we've pretty much been through everything. What more can we go through that's going to separate us? If
a relationship after 17 years can fail, any relationship
of course,
could. Yeah. And totally understand how you can be against it. Would you have any more kids? I know you've effectively got 4 at this point.
No, to be fair, my current partner, she did say she'd have loved to have a little one with me. It's like, obviously when we met, I was late 30s. I was like, no thanks, in the nicest possible way. I'm starting again at an older age, and I'm thinking,
I've got a friend that's got 7 kids.
Like I say, she would have had. Well, she asked me. She said, "Can we have a little one?" Because she wanted that nice family where where your mum, and dad, and little ones. Because she didn't get that either. Whereas I did get that. To be fair, I did get that. She didn't. But I can't. No, I've got used to having sleep now. So we got a dog instead. That was the.
So I think we're pretty much at the end. Is there anything else that you'd like to go over or touch on or mention?
No, I don't think so. I mean, lots and lots of things have happened, and you'd need, as probably a lot of people say when they come on with it, you know, we could do a whole
some
segment
people
on stuff that's happened, and
if you go right into detail,
if you go into all the little details, yeah. But no, I think we've covered the basis. Yeah, it'd be. I'll keep you posted though.
I was gonna say, I hope
how it goes.
It's not gonna be too long until you get it all sorted.
No,
and,
hopefully not.
You do finally get that house sold, get yourself a nice holiday. And the last one is: have you got 2 words to summarize this episode? And that could be the name of your podcast.
Name of the podcast. I would call it just 2 words. I'm going for it. Narcissistic abuse.
Narcissistic. Or...
I can't even speak. Yeah, that's where we'll. That's yeah.
Just write it down. Okay, no worries. Nice one. It's been really good.
Yeah,
I appreciate you taking the time to come.
Appreciate it. Thank you.